Listen, learn, create your own destiny. Create the life you want. See the future, want the future, have it now. Welcome to the Manifest Change Podcast. And here's your host, Brooklyn Storm.
1 second, because there we go. Welcome. I'm recording on a couple of different things at the moment. So we're doing Facebook and we're doing a podcast and we're doing YouTube. And so it's all systems go. But welcome. If you have had goals for 2018 and they didn't work out, don't stress. I've got you covered. Today what I want to do is talk about some of the goals that I had that were huge for me, and I want to share with you why I think they came about and the things that I use, or the processes that I use to make them happen, so that you can do the same thing too. So welcome. My name is Dr. Brooklyn Storm. I'm the director of the Law of Attraction Institute. Thanks so much for joining me. So at the beginning of the year this year, I didn't really have any sort of concrete goals. My goals were very loose in that what I wanted to do was make sure that I could build a private practice, of course, and, build a bigger team and move perhaps into a new location and things like that. And so I guess what happened was I did use a process called SMART goals. Now, I know some of you have heard of that term and some of you haven't. It's a process that's used in, say, organisational psychology, in regular psychology. You can find information about SMART goals anywhere. And it used to be, I thought anyway, it used to be like the benchmark for goal setting. If you wanted to achieve something, didn't matter if it was over 12 months or 1 week, what you needed to do, I thought, was set a SMART goal. So a SMART goal is something that's specific, measurable, achievable, time-guided, and realistic. So it really gets you to think very clearly about what it is you want, how you're going to know when you've achieved it, what you've got to do to get there, and when you've got to get it done by. So it's structure. And you get very involved in taking the steps and doing the stuff. And I think what happened for me was SMART goals, although in my head I knew that this is what you're meant to do, they just weren't a good match for me, because I'd start off with good intentions and I'd start off highly motivated. But then, of course, life would happen and I just got distracted and I wasn't following through on my SMART goals. And I didn't have them written up anywhere. I had them in a book. I didn't have a vision board of SMART goals, or I didn't have a poster in my office about my SMART goals or anything like that. They were just kind of in a book, like a notepad that I had. And periodically I'd look at them. And then I'd feel, like crap when I hadn't achieved them. And it was just a yucky feeling. And then I got all resistant about having goals. And I thought that was not my scene. And then what happened was I really started to get into Law of Attraction, and I just felt so much better for me. And what I learned was that I don't have to do a SMART goal, and I learned that 80% of what I want to call into my reality, 80% of what I want to be real, 80% of what I want in my life, 80% of what I want to experience, of what I want showing up in my day-to-day, has to come from how I'm thinking about it, and it has to come from how I'm feeling about it. So it took me a while to shift my mind away from doing the stuff, okay? Last year or the year before, I can't remember, it's becoming a blur, I went on a business retreat. It was amazing. It was a massive learning curve. And this is no word of a lie. I'm sure you could still find the post somewhere. But I was that much of an action taker. You won't believe this. I actually did a post listing 100 steps that I implemented in a month or two of returning from the retreat. I just felt like I needed to know what to do. I needed to know the action. And so I did that. And I felt amazing. And yes, I got some results. And that was great. But what I know now is that I could have got the same results with a lot less work just by looking at my mindset. And so it was really hard to get my head on board with doing less, and the idea that physically doing less could result in the same or better results than doing a lot of stuff. What I understand now is this is really around mindset. Okay, so I would like to just try and separate or draw a comparison, if you like, between what we might do in psychology and goals and what we might do in Law of Attraction and goals. So in psychology, you would do goal setting around a SMART goal. Okay, this is like in all the psychology handbooks. It's in the CBT tools online that you can find. It's in the clinician guide for best practice for CBT that you can download. It's like the way that you do it. You identify specific, measurable, achievable, realistic, and time-guided. And that's what you do. And there's a worksheet for it and blah, blah, blah. All good. And that works for a lot of people. That's great. I'm not dissing it. No, it works for a lot of people. The difference between that and Law of Attraction is Law of Attraction is the opposite. It's not really overly concerned about all the stuff. It's not worried about when, if it's measurable, if it's realistic or not, if it's achievable or not, for a whole bunch of other reasons. So what we would do is in Law of Attraction, we would say perhaps, well, I want to set an intention. And perhaps my intention is to expand my business. Maybe my intention is to get more clients. Maybe my intention is to extend the reach that I have for people so that more people can be helped by some of the tools that I'm giving them. Whatever it is. But you have an intention, and that intention comes from a place of your beliefs and of your values. So it's value-based and it's belief-based. That's the first thing that you need to be aware of. The second thing is that you want to feel into it. You want to feel the feeling of already having achieved that goal. So imagine what it's going to feel like when you feel like you've doubled your business income. Imagine what it's going to feel like when you're able to cut back your clinical days. Imagine what it's going to feel like to not have financial pressure in your business anymore. Imagine the feeling of that. Does it feel good? Do you feel happy? Do you feel confident? Do you feel empowered? Do you feel relieved? Do you feel energized? Do you feel motivated to take your business now to the next level? Do you feel more balanced? If you're having trouble identifying those feelings, maybe you can just imagine what it might feel like once you've arrived at that intention. If that's your intention, imagine the feeling. That's where all the energy is. That's where the vibration is. Remember, like attracts like. So we don't want to go around saying, in the future, I want this, because if we do that from an LOA perspective, we're telling the universe you don't have it. And so what's going to come back is more of not having it. All right. So don't focus on what you want. Think as if you already have it. Okay. Once you can start thinking as if you've already cut back your clinical days, imagine what's next. Let's say you're already in that place, and maybe instead of working 6 days a week, now you're working 4. What's next? What does this mean for you? You know, there's always something that follows. Does having less clinical days in your business mean that now you can give a day a week to focus on building a retreat package? Or does that now mean you can go and do some more PD? Or does that mean that you can look after yourself and go and do that yoga class that's on every Friday that you couldn't do before? Think about what's after once you attain this intention, okay? And feel into that. Feel as if you already have it. The next step is to really imagine with the intention how it not only benefits you, but think about how this intention, when it becomes real, affects your loved ones. If you've got a partner, how do they feel? How do they benefit from you achieving this? If you have a team member, how do they feel now that how do they benefit from you being available, 4 days now in your work as opposed to 6? How do they benefit from that? Think about your clients. How do your clients benefit from you doing 4 days now instead of working your butt off and doing 6-hour days? What do they get from it? Think about the benefit for your community, for the broader community. How do they benefit from you working 4 days? Is it that you're more focused? Is it that you can make a little bit more money? Is it that you can now invest some of that money back into your community with maybe a charitable donation of $50 a week to some local school or something like that? Think about the flow-on effects. What does it mean concentrically for your family, for your friends, for your community, for your environment, now that this intention is a reality? Because it's by attributing the meaning that it's going to be really powerful. Okay, we're motivated by 2 principles. It's either pleasure or pain. So let's think about, the pleasurable benefits for everybody of you achieving this intention. Or if you're somebody who's more motivated by pain, think about the consequences of what's going to happen if this intention doesn't become real. What's going to happen for you if you continue to work 6 days a week? What's going to happen for your team if you continue to work 6 days a week? What's going to happen to your well-being if you continue to work 6 days a week? What effect is that going to have on your family, on your friendships, on your balance, on your community, on your environment? What do you want to avoid? That's the pain. You want to avoid that. So if that's the motivator rather than pleasure, focus on that. That's fine. Okay. The third thing is really believe that you can achieve this intention. You have to believe wholeheartedly, 110%, that this is happening, that this is real. So if you're working 6 days and you want to cut back to 4, and in your head you think this is great, but in your heart you're like, yeah, that's not going to happen. Start small and say, okay, well, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go onto my online diary and I'm going to open it up for January or February. And instead of working Monday through Saturday, I'm just going to do Monday through Saturday morning and do that for a month. And then the next month, maybe you do Monday through Friday. Right? You've cut out Saturday afternoons, and then you've cut out Saturday mornings. Now you're going to cut out like a Friday afternoon, then a Friday morning. Is it easier for you to do it that way? Is that easier for your heart to get on board with? Is that easier for your mind to get on board with? Is that more believable that you can do that? Is it more inspiring to think that it can happen if you do it like that? If you don't believe that this goal is achievable, it's not going to happen for you. You can put all of the tools in place, but what will happen is, if without belief, you'll just say, oh, well, don't go on a waiting list. It's all right. I will stay back and I will see you. And you're not going to change. Nothing's going to change. If you want change, it has to be believable, all right? So belief for me works in incremental steps, and I'll give you examples of all this in a minute. Okay. The other thing too is, if you have an intention for your business this year, but it feels off, then it is off, all right? That's the reality. Change it. Change it until it feels a little bit better. Change it so that it's more aligned with your vision, with your values, and with your beliefs. You want to come at the business from a place of belief and value, all right? So if you've set a goal for your business, that's a financial one this time, okay? I'm not talking about days now. Let's talk about money. Let's say you want to double your income in 2019. That's your goal, all right? If that feels fine in your head and you think, yep, that's a great goal and I'm on board with that, but in your heart you're like, yeah, this isn't going to happen. I don't believe that this is achievable. How on earth am I going to do that when I'm already killing myself to, make what I make now and I'm still in debt? Like, it's just not possible. Then what you want to do is find an intention that feels better. Maybe you want to say something like, I want to increase my income, and you don't put a figure on it. How would that feel? Does that feel a little bit better? Or maybe you want to say, well, I want to get better at tracking my money. Or maybe I want to feel more comfortable with looking at a fee increase this year. Or, do you know what I mean? Find something that feels better, that's in better alignment. Because if there's any resistance at all, this won't happen, okay? You have to be 100% aligned. So they're the action steps. And for me, it's the LOA that's really worked. And to give you an example, this week has been a massive week. Just using these steps that I've shared with you now, what's happened this week is I published a book on manifesting. It went to Amazon bestseller in 2 separate categories in 48 hours. I couldn't have done that if I was using a SMART goal. All right. I did it because I was aligned. I did it with from a values and beliefs starting point, from that kind of compass. I set an intention. I waited to be in the mood to do everything, and boom, it all just happened. And look, now we've got this really great tool that people can use and that people are loving, and that's amazing. The other thing was, boom, just opened a retreat. So for anybody who's interested, you're most welcome to come along to Honolulu in February 2019, where I'll be running workshops teaching you some of the basics of Law of Attraction so that you too can use these tools to uplevel your business or your life or your romantic relationships or your body of your dreams or whatever it is that's meaningful to you right now. Okay. The other thing that happened is, what else? There were 3 things. It was the book, Honolulu. I manifested the car, as you know, got a brand new car this week. It's all just happened so quickly. Also, we've opened the Law of Attraction Institute, and now we're going to be training allied health practitioners in the tools that you can use in your practice now that already fit with models that you're currently using, that add value to them, that help your clients engage better in getting the outcomes that are important to them, i.e. happiness, i.e. health, i.e. confidence, i.e. self-worth. They're going to fit cohesively with what you're already doing. Plus, it's going to fit nicely with all your CPD requirements. Plus, there's a code of ethics there. Plus this, plus that, plus the other. It's been a massive year for my business, and I had no idea in January 2018 that this was where my year was going to end up. But what I learned was, when I am aligned, all of these things just fall into place. And it sounds like a lot's been achieved, and it has, but it wasn't too much work. It wasn't any extra work. Okay, it's just happened. And we've got the podcast as well now for the manifesting. So there's lots of things there that have happened because I did not set a SMART goal as you would in psychology. I did not follow all the action. I did not follow all of the steps. I did not put pressure on myself to make sure it all happened within a certain time. Okay. I was just open to tapping into feminine energy, to being creative, to going with my flow, to tuning into what felt right at the time. And look what happened. I got amazing results, okay? And you can too. If you're ready to get results yourself for next year and you're looking for a different way, if you've already had planners and if you've already done SMART goals and you've already done like 12-month blueprints and God knows what, but you're wanting a fresh approach, then book an appointment with me, because I'll be more than happy to share with you the process that I use so that you can implement it too. And you can see for yourself whether or not this is going to work for you and be effective. And I promise you, it's not going to feel like hard work. When you're operating from a place of flow, from a point of intention, from a point of beliefs, from a point of values, it's energizing. It makes you feel inspired. It just gives you this, I don't know, you just feel effervescent. You just feel like you're lit up, and you just feel like you're radiating all of this positivity because you're in your flow. And guess what happens then? You attract more. And then it becomes addictive, and it's just so, so beautiful. So I would love to support you. I'd love to help you. If you don't want one-on-one help, that's cool. You might prefer to just come over to our group. It's called Manifest Change. There's loads of resources in there, like-minded people from all walks of life who are really embracing this whole idea of a different approach, a different option to the same result. And there's no reason why you can't have the same success that I've had too in such a short space of time. Cross my heart, promise, 100%. Okay, guys. Well, for those of you who've been watching on Facebook, thank you so much for joining. It was so nice to see everybody here. There's too many people to rattle off names, but thank you so much. And for those of you listening on the podcast, if you're driving, thank you so much for listening. You can check out the show notes when you stop driving, and I will make sure that I put some links in there to the group and to my contact details and to any other information that you might find helpful. If you want to join the group, feel free, just search Manifest Change, click the link and I'll add you, or you can ask a colleague or a friend who's already in there, they can add you as well. Otherwise, have a beautiful weekend, and happy manifesting. Bye, guys.
Thank you for listening. Take steps now to manifest the life you want by checking out the show notes. If you've loved this episode, leave a review on iTunes. Here's to manifesting change.